Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Roberto Monaco here. Today I have a powerhouse, a real powerhouse. If you watch this video, this guy on YouTube, I was watching a couple videos today on Instagram. He had like this huge weight ball lifting, and he threw in the air and goes punch the bag and comes back. I'm like, this guy's nuts. It was a pleasure to have Sensei Daniel Khalil here, brother. What's going on?
Thank you, Mr. Monaco. Good to see you. How are you today? How's everything?
I am amazing, brother. How are you doing today? Doing good?
Oh, we're rocking. I got my morning walk-in this morning. Body's already good to go, and taking care of a few things at the dojo. But I get to spend my morning with you, so that's all that matters.
I love it. I love it. So Sensei Daniel, we met online actually maybe a year ago, and I've started watching your videos. And what I love about what you do, not only you're a martial arts teacher, but also you always bring life into it. You always bring leadership into it. You always bring principles of motivation of life. So that's why, hey, let's do a live here. Share some ideas. I have so much respect for you and what you do. Growing up in Brazil, I did capoeira for 6 years. I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu, boxing. I always love the structure of martial arts, and when you connect, man, I'm so happy to have in our community here, brother.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'm glad that I was able to connect with you. I know a few things about myself. I know that I'm a really good student, but I'm a good student because I've learned from good leaders, and I tried my best to just give back in the manner that I can. But some of the good leaders in my life, first of all, my father is the first leader in my life, Dr. Keith Khalil, and most everything that I have, I've gotten from him, both things to do and things not to do. But that's life. That's life, and I'm always appreciative of that. And the next is my Sensei Brian Ritchie, the head of the Zenbei Bitoku Kai International, which is the karate organization, the umbrella organization that my school and many other schools belong to. And his Sensei Richard Kim, had a phrase that he put out there, and it's in my dojo everywhere, is a martial artist is an artist of life. And one of the biggest teachings of the organization, and what we try to reproduce and help pass on, is karate or any martial arts is really not about the kicking and punching. All of that is great and all of that is exercise. But what about the intangibles? What about the character building? What about the discipline? What about the structures that we can create within the dojo that we can then put out there into the real world and help continue to grow positive youth and positive environments and cultivate, positivity within our societies? And I share all of your videos. I think you are such a great leader. I try and watch from afar since we're not in the same vicinity, but I learn from you every day. So thank you for everything that you post.
I appreciate that. What I want, we're going to have fun today. You talk about, and I agree with you as far as the martial arts artist is not only the guy who a martial artist. Not only the one who's able to kick and to grab, but it's most important is the intangibles, the mindset, the discipline. So in your school, what are some core fundamentals that, in addition to the martial art, you teach your students?
Yeah, one of the first things I teach is courtesy, actually, to all because I work with a lot of kids. I work with a lot of adults as well, but with kids, I find that courtesy goes a long way. And so I share with them the importance of, I'd rather your teachers leave a progress report for your parents saying, so-and-so is such a great kid. He and she is always respectful. They sit quietly and they're polite, versus so-and-so could throw a kick in their class and they were showing off and they were, being boastful. I put a lot of importance on the characteristics and the qualities of what I think make a good person. And we try to teach that to our kids, really just hopefully reinforcing what parents are still teaching at home. Things like confidence, things like courtesy and discipline, self-control, perseverance, qualities that are going to help them to be adaptable to life. They're gonna take the good with the bad, but they're gonna be able to roll with it and have a better perspective of facing adversity and facing challenges.
I love that. Remember when I always growing up and I face adversity, I always went back to my martial arts moments and think about when you always, it's crazy, and I still pull lessons from it. That was like 20, 30 years ago. Why can you unpack the idea of a martial artist is an artist of life? Can you unpack a little bit this idea?
Yeah, that's a very loaded statement with just a few words, right? A martial artist is an artist of life. You know, I learned this from my father because we're all human. We're all human and we all have good days and bad days, right? And sometimes when we're in the professional setting, the best of the best can turn it off and they teach the absolute best classes, or they run the absolute best seminars because they're in that professional setting and they want to show it. They don't want anyone else to see, but then they get home and they might be a little bit cranky, a little bit tired, a little bit frustrated, maybe even a little bit short with their loved ones. Like, we're all human. We've all experienced that. But, you know, my dad said it best to me one day. He just said, if you're on, just be on. Just always be on. You know, you shouldn't have to be on and off. That's who you are. So when you embrace that, that's what you're representing. That's what you're presenting. That's what you're projecting and putting out there. And so that's what I try to teach in the dojo is, what are the things that we learn? What is learning discipline in the dojo going to help us apply out in the real world, right? When we are in the dojo and we know that we're responsible for bringing our requirement sheets, having our uniforms, having our belts, knowing the material, practicing the material, that directly transcribes to students in the real world knowing to bring their backpack and having their homework with them and taking the time to do their homework without mom and dad being told, right? Or without.
I love that. I love that. What is something that you see that, and obviously depends on the area of the country that you are and the parents, but overall, in your, how long have you been teaching?
18 years now.
Well, you started at 1, Brody, or what?
Well, let's see. I started karate at 5 years old, and I just turned 32. And then I started teaching at 14. This is the only career. This is the only job I've ever had. I started teaching at 14, courtesy of Sensei Michael Williams and John Wasselina, and now I'm fortunate enough to own my own school. So yeah, 18 years now.
That's beautiful. So in 18 years of teaching, what if you were to tell me 1 or 2 things that you feel kids are coming in with issues or problems that the martial arts can help eliminate, right, or minimize or improve? What are the major 1 or 2 issues that you feel kids are experiencing right now?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I think the first one overall is confidence. A lot of kids nowadays come on with a very low confidence in themselves, and maybe that has to do with some of the social structures that they might find themselves in, or some of their interactions with their peers and things like that. So in the martial arts, we help them we teach them to have the ability to not only learn something, but then do it on their own. And then in a manner, put them on the spot to be able to perform that and build the confidence. You talked earlier about remembering some of the lessons you learn through the adversities. You know, there's in the martial arts, there's plenty of times where we challenge the students in class, whether it's physically or mentally or whatever the case might be, at a level that pushes them, but also encourages them to rise to the occasion, to answer the call, right? And when they do that, then their confidence just grows and it builds.
I love that.
At the same time, we reinforce the importance of humility. So that way, as their confidence grows, their ego does not, right? They recognize, that there's still a place, you know, martial arts is full of 3 things: respect, compassion, and gratitude. And so when we have respect for all, we recognize everybody and what we're going through. Compassion is really showed when the senior students remember what they went through and help the lower ranking students, right? And then gratitude is really on display when the lower ranking students show appreciation for the senior students who are there to help them. And they don't have to be, but they're there because we've all been through it together. So I would say confidence is a really big one. Humility is a really big one. And probably most importantly is the discipline that they receive, you know, from our learning, but then, you know, that they gain on their own. They recognize the importance of doing things on their own accord, and then they take that out into the real world with them.
I love that. Right before you went live, we connected a little bit, and you said something that I believe so much is speaking to the current events or the mindset that we live today, the lack of accountability. that I feel not only for kids but from everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
From your perspective as a teacher, instructor, leader in your community, why do you feel that our society, and by the way, we can talk about anything here, so don't hold back. Why do you feel we live in this era of no accountability?
Okay, I will be very transparent with this.
Yeah.
Okay? First of all, I think that our societies worldwide, unfortunately overall, especially here in the United States, has gotten away from the teachings of the church. I think that's really where everything should be rooted from, because and we might be of all denominations, and that's okay. That's okay. That's something I've come to terms with. But the teachings are all the same throughout, right? Something bigger than ourselves, a community more important than just us. So people have fallen to the lowest common denominator, which is self. And people have become more worried about selfish feelings, as opposed to being focused on something bigger than that, and the community. And so people have lost accountability, or the ability to be accountable, because they're only focused on themselves, right? And so as long as they feel like they can get away with something, they're going to, because they don't have anyone or anything to answer to. And that's the idea, right? If we all just behaved with the idea of there are pros and cons, or there are consequences to our behavior, then we would all think twice about our actions. But nowadays, people can hide behind certain medias and streams and the lack of face-to-face interaction, and there's no one now to be held accountable, right?
Because when you said that, I was laughing. When growing up in Brazil, man, in high school, you talk smack about someone, and after the class, there's accountability right away. Now people, they have trolls and people curse. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm not advocating violence, but before you call out someone, it's like, I better think before I say anything here.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
I think that the answer to our social structure right now can be found in one of the three laws. And I had the pleasure of talking to Dr. Jennifer Hastings about this a couple days ago. And the first law is the law of dominant emotion. And the second law of the law of concentrated attention. And the third law is the law of cause and effect.
Yeah, let's go over. This is good stuff. Law of dominant emotion. Okay, let's unpack.
Yeah, right. And I think that more and more we're seeing it in the realm with all the challenges today. The dominant emotion that's at play is self, right? The more the challenges present themselves, unfortunately, more and more people are resorting back to, okay, I got to focus on me. What's good for me, right? That's the lowest common denominator of emotion is self. So when people start feeling like that, then the law of concentrated attention, right? They start focusing on what's good for me. And then that's the result that we're seeing. That's the cause and effect that we're seeing. If we change that to be more aware of our surroundings and more aware of our impact, not just on our own lives, but on other people's lives, and we started concentrating our attention for the good of all, then we would think a little bit, we would think a little bit more into our actions, because we'd be more concerned about how is it affecting not just me, but other people also.
Yeah, it's so powerful. There's a study done. The last time I checked, it's an ongoing study. When I checked, was with 13,000 students, and the study's about empathy. And the researchers figure out that people who graduate from college before 2000, right, and then people graduate after the year 2000. People graduate after the year 2000 had 40% less empathy.
Sure.
Than people, because it's crazy. And the reason is because we created this couple of things driving that behavior. One is the whole, this is all about me. You know what I mean? Like, I think self-development, like you said before, is just all about you. You're the center of the universe.
Right.
And it's about me. And which is great. But what I love what you said, you want to have confidence, but you want to have humility. You know what I mean? That balance. And when people grow up, they think everything is about them. But then you have the social media and the selfie culture. It's incredible how people literally, they have no empathy towards others, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, very much so. People have lost the ability to have empathy and compassion for other people, because what they fail to recognize is their actions don't affect just them. Their actions affect everybody, and we need to be held accountable for that. We need to recognize that the decisions that we make affect everybody, not just us.
Yeah, when I see these people rioting, going, man, you know.
Yeah, it's a very challenging it's a very challenging time right now, and I think that when people lose sight of God or a higher power and the teachings of the church,
Yeah.
and whatever church that is for you, you now no longer feel like you have anything to answer to or anyone to answer one. And then, we feel like we can get away with everything. And I get that. That is human nature, but that's where humility comes into, is we need to recognize that we are not the center of the universe.
Yeah.
And we have someone or something to answer to.
For sure. Do you find now in this, and this is I'm so curious about this question. Do you find now in these times people are looking more towards martial arts for security, safety reasons?
Well, I want to say yes, because I think that martial arts school should have been open this entire time, because if anything, we provide the opportunity to teach people how to feel confident in their ability to defend themselves and how to avoid challenges and situations, right? Yeah. We were faced with the issue that dojos were classified as gyms. I'm not a gym. I'm a school. I'm an educational institution. I teach people material and information and knowledge that is going to help them in the real world day in and day out, right? Martial artists are artists of life. And so a lot of parents and a lot of people are coming into the dojo looking for not only the security of learning self-defense, but just like we talked about earlier, just attaining the confidence to be able to be them, number one, to be who they want to be, number two, and also to be outside and feel like, okay, I'm not going to be able to, be Jackie Chan or Jet Li, and that's okay. Those are movie stars. But at least if somebody approaches me, I feel comfortable in how I respond and handle the situation.
I think one of the biggest things for me for martial arts was like the situation awareness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how to even avoid stuff even before. You know what I mean? Like some people are just not aware.
You can come to my karate class.
My cape, with Superman. There's not about that. It's about it's kind of like you're not looking for. You're just not unaware. Yeah. When you get into martial arts, you become more social aware of things. Like it just. For me, it's just energy, man. This is not good. I'm out of the situation even before, so you don't have to face the situation.
That's right. No, you can come teach my class anytime, because that's what I teach to my students. The very first thing I say is, if you find yourself in a position where you have to protect yourself, you did something wrong. Something went wrong. Right? I've been in martial arts a long time. I'm happy to say, but also very sad to say, that I've only been in one fight. Not sad that I haven't been in more fights, sad that I even let that it even happen, because as I recall this situation, there were plenty of opportunities where I could have probably avoided the whole situation much earlier on. But I was a little bit younger at the time and a little bit more curious at the time. And I thought, wow, where's this going to go? Right. But
it's a good one.
Yeah, but that's on me. That's my responsibility. So you're absolutely right. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so you're doing the right thing if you never have to use anything I teach you. And that's the very first thing I teach.
I love that. I love that. Can you find an example? Tell us an example about a student that came in with some specific issues, and through the lifestyle of the martial artist has changed, and now he's doing bigger, better things in life, or improving, feeling better. Can you find an example of someone?
Yeah, very much so. I had a student who came in very, very down on himself, had very little self-confidence, had very little confidence in himself. And always felt like he was just, you know, a loner and a, you know, not a very positive person, you know, even on himself. And just through the structure of being in the martial arts, and this is a student started when he was young, maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, right? And now he's gone on and he's serving in the military, but he's also achieved a high rank in the military. And so the structure of the martial arts helped him to be familiar with the structure of the military. Not that we are military in our presentation, but the discipline and the structure is very similar, right? And he's also gone on from then graduating out of the military after achieving such ranks in some leadership positions. Now he works in the government, right? And so here's somebody who was very introverted, and now he's very responsible for a lot of things that are going on, and has the capability and the ability to do so because he was in the martial arts from 6, 7 years old till he was 18, till he decided to go on to the military and have a successful career there, and then retire from that, and has continued that success, you know, working in the government.
So I love it. So what is the future of the martial arts industry?
The future is to continue to grow the positive atmosphere that the martial arts presents, not just for kids, but for adults alike, right? The things that we teach helps everybody. And I didn't make this stuff up. My sensei didn't make this stuff up. A lot of other people did, but our responsibility is to teach it and to pass it on, because if we don't, then it's lost to antiquity. And that would be a shame if something so great that provides so many benefits to everybody would just be lost. In fact, I really believe if more people study martial arts, we wouldn't have as many challenges in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that too. So if people, we have a lot of people watching us here the whole time. If people want to reach out to you, what is the best way to connect with you?
Okay, the dojo is located in Troy, Michigan, and there's I've gotten rid of the website, but I use a lot of the socials. So Facebook is the Dojo Zenbei Martial Arts. Instagram is also the same, the Dojo Zenbei Martial Arts, and then the YouTube channel is the Dojo Sensei Daniel Khalil. But you can find us. You can look up the Dojo in Troy, Michigan, and I've never had a Facebook in my life until I opened the dojo, which was just a couple of years ago. I'm not the biggest social media person. However, I like to now establish a level of presence that demonstrates what we represent. That's why you see some of the workout videos. That's why you see some of the training videos, because this is not just a hobby, and you don't have to be a professional martial artist to make it your lifestyle. Being in the martial arts is a way of living in the manner that we teach. I don't care if you can do a backflip. It's very cool to see, but that's not going to help us in the real world, right? But understanding even just opening the door for someone and the impact that might have.
That's beautiful.
The fact that the respect and the chivalry still exists, that's a martial artist. You know, one thing that we really pride ourselves on as an organization is being an organization of class. You know, when we go somewhere, we're professionals through and through, and that's what we represent.
I love that. What is one, not the one of the biggest lessons that you personally learned through all your years of a martial artist?
You know, I'm currently going through this right now, and this is one of the things that I learned from you. I am dealing with an internal conflict that I don't know for sure if I'm a good leader. I think I'm a great example. I think I'm an excellent example, but I'm not sure yet that I'm a good leader. I think you're a good leader. When I listen to you and I watch and I see the following. And so the one thing that I'm working on is becoming a good leader. Humans aren't innately leaders. We're followers and we're learners. And then some of us have that ability to take that to the next step. And so by watching people such as yourselves, my sensei, my father, and a few others, my good friends, Sensei John Davis and Sensei Dean Romanelli, I'm working really hard to learn how to be a better leader. I think I'm an excellent example. If you tell me what you want me to put on display or what you do, if you needed a number 2, I don't think there's a better number 2 out there.
What's number 2?
Well, you know, if you were like, watch this guy.
Is that a karate move?
No. That's like, watch this guy. He'll show you what to do. I can do that. You know what I mean? But to come up with that on my own, that's something I'm learning, is how to be a better leader.
Oh, you are, brother, because you have a great success in your school. I'm so inspired by your message, so I'm super grateful to have you here, Sensei. Appreciate you very much, brother.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I hope we can do this again. I learn from you every single day.
I appreciate that. Much love to you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much.